Brothers and sisters, listen to me carefully. They have told you to follow your heart. They have told you to trust your mind. But when the world begins to collapse on your shoulders, when failure knocks at your door again and again, when your own people doubt you, and your strength is fading, who do you listen to then? Is it the mind that tells you to endure, to plan, to fight in silence, to wait for your moment? Or is it the emotion that screams inside you, that refuses to give up, that fuels your fire when the world turns cold? Tonight I will speak not to entertain you, not to comfort you. I will speak to awaken what is asleep inside you, the silent mind that was born to lead, the fierce emotion that was born to burn through limits. And I will not ask you to choose one. I will show you which one must lead and which one must obey. But for that, you must listen not just with your ears, you must listen with your soul. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't theory. It is survival, it is power. It is the truth they don't teach in schools, and the truth they fear you will discover. So don't just sit and watch. Breathe these words, feel them. And when this speech ends, beginning of a new version of you, emotion you're that not leads to success, but commands both to serve the mission. Now listen, let the fire begin. Let us begin where true power is born, in the mind. Not in the noise of the crowd, not in the shaking of hands, not in the flashes of applause, but in the silence of your thoughts. Because it is the mind that decides the path before the first step is taken. It is the mind that sees the war long before the battlefield even exists. You see, emotions can explode like a storm. They come fast, they burn strong, they rise and fall. But the mind, the trained mind, is like the mountain. It doesn't move when the wind screams. It doesn't shake when fear creeps in. It calculates, it observes, it decides, and then it moves with purpose. Success is not granted to the loudest voice or the most passionate scream. It is granted to the most disciplined thinker, the one who wakes up every morning not driven by how they feel, but by what they know must be done. The one who understands that success is not a moment of glory. It is a journey of thousands of quiet, focused, calculated steps. If you want to rise, you cannot be a slave to your emotions. Emotions can betray you. You can feel motivated one day and empty the next. You can feel brave in the morning and fearful by night, but the mind, when it is trained, does not waver like that. It is consistent, it is sharp, it is loyal to the mission, not the mood. The problem today is many people want success, but few are willing to sit in the stillness and forge a mind that can carry it. They chase motivation, they wait for inspiration, but the mind that wins is the one that wakes up even when there's no reason to smile. The one that says, let's go, even when the world says, give up. That mind is not born, it is built. You build it by facing your weakness with honesty, by mastering your reactions, by learning to think when others panic. You don't let your anger speak for you. You don't let your fears decide your actions. You pause, you observe. You strategize. That is how the strong rise, not through explosions of emotion, but through discipline and vision. And make no mistake, the mind is not cold. It is not lifeless. It feels everything, but it does not allow those feelings to control the outcome. You can cry and still move forward. You can feel fear and still fight. You can carry pain and still plan like a general at war. That is the power of the mind. It can hold the storm, but stay focused on the target. Think of the greatest warriors, the strongest leaders, the people who didn't just win once, but kept winning. What made them great? Not just courage, not just passion. It was mental discipline. It was the ability to think clearly in chaos, to make decisions under pressure, to see beyond the moment. That is what separates the ones who burn out from the ones who build legacies. And let me tell you something else. Your enemy knows this. That's why they try to distract your mind. That's why they feed you lies, temptations, noise. Because once your mind is lost, you become easy to manipulate. But when your mind is trained, when it is your strongest weapon, no one can break you. They can try, but you will not bend, you will not fall apart. That's the kind of mind you must develop, one that holds the vision so strongly that no storm can wash it away. One that is loyal to purpose even when the emotion is screaming to quit, because the world does not reward emotion alone. It rewards results, and results are born from clear decisions, strong plans, and daily discipline, all of which come from the mind. So ask yourself, how strong is your mind? Have you trained it? Do you lead your thoughts, or do they lead you? Because your life, your future, your victory, it begins and ends with how well your mind performs under pressure. There will be days when everything will try to shake you. There will be nights when your emotions will try to drown you. But if your mind stands tall, if your thoughts are sharp, if your focus is unbreakable, you will walk through fire and come out stronger. That is why success belongs to the disciplined mind. That is why you must master it, not tomorrow, but now. Because in the war between the mind and the world, the one who thinks sharp, moves wise, and stays focused, that is the one who wins. And I didn't come here to teach you how to feel better. I came to wake up the part of your mind that refuses to be average. The part that says, no more wasting time, no more chasing emotions, no more excuses. It's time to think like a warrior and move like a leader. Because success isn't waiting for the loudest voice, it's waiting for the sharpest mind. Now let us speak of emotion not as weakness, but as raw power. The kind of power that shakes your bones when you stand before a challenge greater than yourself. The kind that makes your heart beat faster when everyone else has already surrendered. Emotion is not your enemy. It is the fire that refuses to die when the wind of life tries to blow you out. They've taught you to hide it. They've taught you to suppress it. They say to be strong is to feel nothing. But I tell you this, the strongest men and women in history were not stone. They burned inside. They cried behind closed doors. They felt everything deeply. What made them strong was not the absence of emotion, but the ability to use it. To turn pain into fuel, to turn love into purpose, to turn anger into clarity, that is emotion when it becomes your strength. You see, your mind can design the path. It can create the plan, the logic, the structure, but it is emotion that gives you the will to move. Without emotion, the path remains untouched. The mind may see the mountain, but it is emotion that climbs it. When you fall, and you will fall, it won't be the mind that picks you up first, it will be your heart. That deep burning feeling that says, I was not made to stay down, that hunger, that fire, that pain, they are not curses. They are signals. They tell you that you are still alive. They remind you that you still care. And if you still care, you can still win. Think about the moments in your life when you moved beyond your limits. Was it because of logic? No. It was because something inside of you refused to quit. Maybe it was the face of your mother in your mind. Maybe it was the memory of betrayal. Maybe it was the promise you made to yourself when you had nothing. That is emotion, not weakness, but the deepest strength. When people tell you to calm down, when they tell you to think straight, they are often afraid of what your passion might ignite. Because a mind on fire with emotion is not easy to control. It becomes dangerous. It becomes a force that cannot be stopped by simple obstacles. That's why the world wants you numb. They want you neutral. They want you quiet. Because once you awaken emotionally, once you start fighting with your soul, nothing can stop you. But hear this truth, emotion alone is not enough. Uncontrolled emotion is chaos. Emotion must be directed. It must be channeled. Like the sun through a lens when focused, it can set fire to anything, but when scattered, it just warms the surface. This is the key. Let your mind guide the path, but let your emotion power your steps. Let your logic hold the sword, but let your emotion swing it with force. There will be days when the world doesn't believe in you. There will be nights when your mind starts to doubt the mission, and in those moments when logic breaks down, it is emotion that must remind you why you started. You have to feel your why. Because if your goal does not move you emotionally, you will abandon it at the first sign of struggle. But when the vision burns in your chest, no matter how dark it gets, you will keep walking. You will keep pushing. You will keep rising. People forget that the greatest movements, the greatest revolutions, the greatest victories, they were not born from comfort. They were born from emotional unrest, from deep pain, from unbearable injustice, from love so deep it shattered fear. That is the power emotion holds. It doesn't just push one man to act. It moves nations. It awakens the sleeping. It breaks chains. But first, you must allow yourself to feel. Don't run from pain. Don't silence the anger. Don't hide the tears. Let them teach you. Let them guide you. But never let them rule you. Master your emotion. Do not murder it. Because emotion is not the enemy of success. It is the engine. Your journey will not always make sense. There will be chaos, betrayal, silence, failure. And in those moments, the mind will search for answers. But the emotion will carry you through the void. That relentless voice in your soul, that is what keeps you breathing when everything else says die. So if your heart is broken, good. Now you know what it means to care. If you are angry, good. Now you have a reason to change something. If you are tired, good. Now you understand what it takes. Let that emotion burn, but direct it. Don't let it explode and vanish. Let it become steady fire, burning not in rage, but in resolve. And when that fire meets a focused mind, there is no force on this earth that can deny you what is yours. Because the mind shows you how to win, but emotion gives you the reason why you must. But now let me take you into a truth most people run from. What happens when emotion overpowers the mind? What happens when that fire inside you becomes a wildfire with no control? You see, it's easy to speak about passion, about energy, about fighting with your heart. But what happens when your emotion leads and your mind follows? You don't get power, you get chaos. There are people who had the strength, the drive, the hunger. They were on fire, but they let that fire consume them. They spoke too soon. They acted too fast. They trusted too deeply without thinking. They reacted in anger, moved in fear, celebrated without caution, and just like that, everything they were building collapsed. Not because they weren't strong enough, but because they lost control. Emotion can make you blind. When you're angry, you stop listening. When you're hurt, you stop thinking clearly. When you're afraid, you freeze. That's the danger. Emotion without guidance can betray you worse than your enemies ever could. It tells you, move now, when you should wait. It says, speak now, when silence was your weapon. It says, give up. When your breakthrough is around the corner, you've seen it in others. Maybe you've seen it in yourself. One wrong word in anger destroyed a relationship. One moment of fear ruined a decision. One emotional outburst wrecked your credibility. People say the world is unfair, but sometimes it's not the world. Sometimes it's us. We are not defeated by others. We are defeated by emotions we refuse to master. The ones who fall are not always weak. Sometimes they're just too emotional in moments where control was needed. They lead with the heart when the head should have taken the reins. They took offense instead of taking a breath. They chased revenge instead of planning victory, and every time they did, they paid with time, with trust, with progress. Because success demands maturity, not just fire, but direction, and this is where most people break. Because they think being emotional is enough. They think because they care, they'll win. They think because they're passionate, they're ready. No, passion without discipline is noise. Caring without control is weakness. If your emotion commands your mind, you'll move fast and crash faster. You want to be dangerous, then control your emotions. That is the real strength. To be burning inside, but still think clearly. To be attacked, but still move with precision. To be disappointed, but not distracted. That is what separates warriors from the reckless. The warrior doesn't stop feeling. He trains himself to feel everything, but still decide with purpose. You will be tested. That's guaranteed. People will disrespect you. They will lie. They will try to provoke you. The world will not hand you your victory calmly. It will try to shake you. And in those moments, your mind must stand taller than your emotion. It must speak louder than your anger. It must hold you steady when everything inside you is ready to explode. Because that moment, right there, is where most people lose everything. It is not strength to fight every time you're angry. It is not wisdom to cry every time you're tired. It is not leadership to react every time you feel something. Leadership, power, greatness, it lives in restraint. It lives in the ability to take all that emotion and hold it back like a storm behind steel gates until the right moment comes. Then you strike not with rage, but with reason, not with noise, but with impact. That's how empires are built. Not on emotional highs, but on consistent discipline. Let me tell you something very clearly. Your emotions are powerful tools, but terrible masters. Use them. Yes, feel them always, but do not obey them blindly. Because if you keep following your emotions without checking them, you will make decisions that feel good in the moment, but cost you in the long run. And some mistakes can't be undone, some words can't be taken back, some doors once closed never open again. So control is not optional, it is survival. So ask yourself, in your worst moments, who is in charge? Your emotion or your mind? When you're under pressure, who makes the decision? If you don't answer with discipline, you are gambling with your future. But if you can train your emotion to serve your mind, not fight it, you become unstoppable. The emotion is still there. The fire still burns, but now it's contained, focused, aimed. You don't let your feelings choose your actions. You let your purpose decide. You become the one who can feel pain, but not be broken by it. The one who can feel joy, but still stay humble. The one who can feel pressure, but still execute the plan. That's who wins, not the loudest, but the most stable. Because storms will come, people will try to shake you, life will test you. And when that moment comes, it won't be the strength of your emotion that decides your future. It will be the strength of your control. You see, it was never about choosing the mind or the emotion. That's the mistake many people make. They believe success requires one and not the other. They say, be logical, emotions are a weakness. Or they say, follow your heart, the mind overthinks. Both are lies if taken alone. Because the truth is this: the greatest power comes when the mind and the emotion move together, like two blades of the same sword, one sharp with focus, the other burning with purpose. Imagine a mind that sees clearly, thinks ahead, plans every step with precision, but without the emotion, it lacks drive. It has the blueprint but no hunger to build. Then imagine the opposite: emotion without the mind, passion without direction. Fire without form, it moves fast but crashes harder. So what's the answer? It is not to kill emotion for the sake of clarity, and it is not to silence the mind for the sake of feeling. The answer is harmony, alignment, balance. When the mind and emotion are aligned, you become a force the world cannot stop. You don't just chase success, you execute it. You don't just feel deeply, you think wisely. You don't just move fast, you move correctly. That's what makes a person unshakable, not being perfect in one area, but being united within themselves. Think about it. When the mind speaks and the emotion agrees, doubt vanishes. You don't question every step. You don't hesitate. You act with conviction because both the logic and the heart are behind you. That's when decisions become powerful. That's when energy becomes efficient. And that's when every move you make begins to carry weight, direction, and intensity. Look at the people who truly rise, the ones who not only make it, but stay there. They have fire, you can feel it. But they're not reckless, they have focus. You can see it, but they're not cold. These are the people who have mastered both weapons inside them. They think like warriors and feel like believers. They lead with strategy and fight with soul. That's why they don't fall when pressure hits. That's why betrayal doesn't destroy them. That's why failure doesn't end them, because their foundation is balanced. You must become like that. You must learn to walk with both strength and grace, to think in chaos and still feel when others go numb. Your mind should be your commander, directing, measuring, sharpening, but your emotion should be your engine, fueling, pushing, refusing to stop. One without the other is incomplete, but together they make you untouchable. This world will try to pull you in two directions. One side will tell you to silence your heart, become a machine, calculate every move. The other side will tell you to ignore the facts, just follow the passion, let it all flow. But both sides will fail you if you follow blindly, because life is not lived in extremes, it's mastered in balance. And balance is not passive. It's chosen, built, and protected every single day. You don't get balance by waiting. You get it by waking up each morning and checking yourself. Is my mind clear? Is my emotion in control? Are they working together or pulling apart? You train that alignment like you train muscle, through repetition, through self-awareness, through discipline. There will be moments when your emotion wants to explode and your mind says wait. There will be moments when your logic says quit and your emotion screams not yet. In those moments, you must pull them back into unity, not letting one silence the other, but letting both be heard, then choosing the path with power and purpose. Because when the mind and the emotion speak the same language, your inner war ends, you become whole. You stop battling yourself. You stop overthinking one day and overreacting the next. You become grounded, steady, dangerous in the right way. And people will feel it. Your presence will shift rooms, not because you shout louder, but because you move with certainty. Let them feel the intensity of your heart, but make sure they see the sharpness of your thinking. Let them feel the depth of your passion, but let your steps be calculated. Let your vision be born in your mind, but let your journey be fueled by your emotion. That is how you lead. That is how you survive. That is how you win. So no, it's not about which is stronger, the mind or the emotion. It's about which one is leading and which one is supporting. And when they walk side by side, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not even time, because when your mind holds the vision and your emotion fuels the mission, you are no longer chasing success. You are becoming it.